Hi, this is Scott from Spectre Gear. For today's video, this is going to be a follow-up to the follow-up video that I did on the speed loader shootout. And it's turned into kind of an interesting little story that has a really cool happy ending. And it's also one of those things where I actually got to learn something in the process of this. And it's once again an important reminder of the value of patience and listening to people, because sometimes you may at first glance just kind of kiss somebody off as just throwing out misinformation or doing something to screw up your program, when in fact they do actually have a legitimate concern and you're missing the point. Now, let me kind of explain what I'm talking about. When I did the original shootout video, it was a comparison between the Safariland Comp 1, the 5-star, and the HKS loaders. And I did so with the intent of focusing on loaders for the 5-shot 38 357 platforms such as J-frames and Ruger SP101s and LCRs, etc. So it was a comparison of the three different loaders, and I talked, about the virtues of each loader. So if you're interested, look that video up. It's a pretty good one. But as in one of the comments, I had somebody say that as much as he liked the Safariland loaders, he didn't like the fact that they released in his pocket. Now, I immediately kissed this off as somebody either being, deliberately contrarian or maybe confused about which loader they owned, because as I tell in the video, for years I would take these things and kick them around ranges and throw them against walls and stuff, and that would be the Comp 1s as well as the Comp 2s, and I used to beat the hell out of these loaders. Excuse me. And for many years, I've been pocket carrying Safariland Comp 1 5-shot J-frame loaders in my right front pocket. And I've never had a round release out of one of these loaders. It's just something that I couldn't even envision how it could happen, particularly when I viewed what it takes to actually download or unload rather one of these loaders. Because even removing the rounds from the loader is a pain in the ass. You stick your finger in there and try to press. It's hard to get that released. In fact, you can do it with the Comp 1s, but usually you have to use a pen or something to reach in there and release that. It's a pretty strong release. I just couldn't see how something like that would release in a pocket. I couldn't see any set of circumstances where that would occur. So again, I'm like, well, maybe this guy's, again, just being a contrarian. And to be honest with you, I've been doing YouTube enough, especially on the radio side of things, where I will get people that will come in and they will just say stuff that's deliberately disputing what I'm saying, just to be kind of a troll. And this guy, initially, I thought it was one of those things. So I apologize for immediately making that assumption. But one thing it did was it gave me an idea to do a follow-up video where I tested one of these Comp 1 loaders to destruction to show just how securely these things hold their rounds. And as I said, I pocket carried these also for many, many years and never had a problem. So I put the video up and I think, yay, okay, truth, justice, and the American way wins out again. But the guy responds and he says, hey, look, I get what you're saying, and he basically says he's not trying to be a dick either, although he didn't use those words. But yeah, he's saying this stuff is actually happening to him. Then what he points out is a really important piece of information, because this was an assumption that I made. I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and look. I don't think he said which type of loader he was using before, although he may have, but I must have missed it. But he wasn't using a Comp 1 for a 5-shot J-frame, which I assumed because that was the subject of the video, was loaders for J-frames. But in fact, what he's using is an L-frame Comp 2. Now, these are equally as durable as the Comp 1s, and I beat the crap out of these too and never had a round release, and I've never had a round release out of a pouch. But admittedly, here's one thing I have never done. I've never pocket carried a K or L frame Comp 2 loader, because if I'm carrying a K or an L frame type gun, it's on my belt. which means I have loaders on the right side of my body just in front of my holster. So I don't pocket carry speed loaders. I will pocket carry speed strips to do tactical reloads. But one thing I can honestly say is I'm not a pocket carry Comp II kind of guy. So this introduces a set of circumstances where now I'm not 100% certain, because maybe there is some way that the rounds actually release. So I replied back to him and I said, hey, look, I'll look into this. I'll load up an L-frame loader and see what the situation is, see if I can get it to release. So I loaded up an L-frame loader and tossed it around. I didn't find anything new or disturbing about that. But he pointed out that he carries these in his pants, and it's a fairly tight fit. So he felt he might be pressing on it in some way that got it to release. Now, my understanding has always been that to get the rounds to release out of a Comp II, or as I pointed out earlier, a Comp I, the only way to get that done is to press that release in the center. You turn the knob, you're not going to get anything going on. So you're not going to release it by turning the knob. It doesn't release with impact. It doesn't release with kinetic impact. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, the only thing that has to be eliminated at this point, is there some way that applying side pressure to the rounds themselves could get this to release? And watch what happened. I've never done this before, but if you take the rounds and you press on them enough, so let's see if I can get to there we go, got it to release. So here's the deal, and here's what I found by looking at this. The stars, so these stars here are dramatically different between the two. The one on the Comp I is much smaller. So the way this works without the rounds in there, you can see it a little better. So when it's up in its locked position, so it moves up and turns, and these little projections go up against the sides of the cartridges in the loader. And as this is pressed, this turns. You see how as it's pressed down, it turns and releases. Okay? Now, with the Comp I loader, I was not able to find any way to get it to release in that manner. So try as I might, I'm pressing and trying to turn, but the star is not large enough that I can get around in there to make contact. Let me pop this loose here. So the idea is I'm trying with this in its locked position to get around to kind of go over the projection and be able to apply pressure in a clockwise fashion to get this thing to release. I couldn't get it done with the Comp I, which may explain why I've never had one release in the pocket. But with the Comp II, it's a much easier proposition. So you put the rounds in here. Let me load these in here. You get it locked into place. The idea is if it's in the pocket and this round is against the person's thigh, this round from the outside is being pressed down. If you press down hard enough, you can get it to actually turn. Do that one more time. So if you press down on each side and it's able to smash it together like that, and you keep applying pressure, you can get it to release with side pressure. Again, it's not something that I can get to occur. I'm going to try to keep these rounds from falling off of my table because I've got a bulldog on the floor right behind me and I don't want him swallowing a dummy round. And when I say bulldog, I'm not talking about a Charter Arms. I'm talking about an English bulldog named Vinny. Okay, so I'll try the same experiment with this and see if I can get it to occur. But the problem is the star is just not large enough, or the 5-round layout. Actually, now that I think about it, the 5-round layout is perfect. That actually, damn it, if I didn't just have an epiphany. Okay, so to get this to occur, you have to press on both sides. So you have to override and then turn it like so. But with the 5-shot, This will override, but this one won't, because it can't get to another kind of cutout. That might explain it 100%. But here's the upshot, guys. It is possible. It is possible for a 6-shot K or L frame loader, and I'm sure even a Comp 1 loader like an N frame, I'm pretty confident that you can get the rounds on each side to turn enough to actually grab here and here and actually turn that back around. So I will say this, he's correct. And I was wrong. Yes, you can get these rounds to release. It's a real weird set of circumstances, and you do have to carry them in a pretty tight pocket. I usually carry in a loose cargo pocket, but you know what? That's equivocating, and I'm starting to make excuses for my own assumptions. I'm just going to say the dude is right. He's absolutely right. It can occur. Now, how many people pocket carry K or L frame loaders? I don't know. It's not a terribly popular method. Most folks, like I say, like myself, we carry on the belt. But I am going to say, if you're a Comp II or loader user for a K or an L frame, you're going to want to carry these in a speed loader pouch on your belt. Now, on a speed loader pouch on the belt, I can't see how you would pinch on each side and get it to turn. I just can't see how that would be imparted with it in a pouch. But in a pocket, hell yeah, it can definitely occur. So that is a happy ending to his story. I get to learn something new. He gets to know that he's not going crazy, that what is occurring is actually occurring. And we all get to learn something completely new also, that this is a thing that can occur. So I'm still 100% certain that your 5-shot Comp 1 loader is going to be perfectly impervious to this. So that's the latest, and I think we can call that the end of the saga. Now, to my guy who was the original commenter, I'll issue you a formal apology if I offended you in any way. That wasn't even the intent of the follow-up video. The follow-up video was just simply to reinforce, for anybody that saw the comment and might have thought that these loaders are weak, to make sure that they know they're not. These things are badass. But I could see how he could possibly be offended that I sort of pointed him out. And I did make a comment about an appeal to authority, and it's entirely possible that those guys that he mentioned, I think Rob Garrett was one of them, that they're aware of this and that I wasn't. So how about that? So with that, I will again thank everyone for watching and or listening, and I'm gonna try to get in contact with this guy that made the comments, and if he doesn't have any speed loader pouches, I'm going to set him up with some speed loader pouches for free, because I'd certainly like to see him carrying on maybe his speed loader pouches on a belt in a more secure manner, so he doesn't have to deal with this problem. And with that, we get to bring this saga to an end. So once again, thanks for watching or listening. This is Scott from Spectre Gear. Have a wonderful day.